Hey y'all, it's time for another video about new makeup releases. I'm excited. I have not been paying attention to what's been going on. I haven't really been able to watch as much YouTube as I usually do over the past couple of weeks. So when I went to Trend Mood and I went to scroll through and pull up, a handful of new releases that I want to talk about. And it was all new to me, and that's not usually how it is. Usually I've like watched Angie and I've watched beauty news and all of that stuff. But this time it was kind of like me reacting in real time to the things just 5 minutes ago when I went to pull them up. And I surprised myself by actually having some feelings. I feel like I haven't really been feeling the feelings about makeup lately. And when I was pulling these up, it was like feelings to the left of me, feelings to the right of me. So I'm really jazzed to film this video. If this is your first time to my channel, welcome. I'm so glad you're here. I'm Hannah. I love beautiful things, but I budget. I don't let myself get out of control by buying too much. And I also want to make sure that I'm using what I have. So that also holds me back from just piling more on top of more on top of more. And my content is influenced by that philosophy. So if that sounds good to you, I hope you'll subscribe. Let's go ahead and get into the meat of the video. Oh my gosh, should I move to the side? I've recently, many of you know this, switched editing programs. And in my old editing program, I used to do this like half and half screen split thing when I put pictures up on the screen. And now in the new program, it's easier to like drop pictures in. And so the last time I edited this video, I was annoyed that I didn't have space. And it made me, really appreciate why Angie's always like saying that she's gonna scoochie, you know what I mean? Should I do that? I guess I'll come over to this side. Oh, I feel so like, over here. So I sat down on my computer, I opened Trend Mood, I started going through, and plenty of things are kind of ho-hum, but the first thing that struck me enough, right? The first thing that struck me enough that I was like, I wanna talk about that, struck me for the last reason that I was expecting anything to strike me today, which is the reason of me being like, wow, and like there's feeling in my tummy where I'm just like, there's something about it, I want it. I just didn't expect to feel that way about anything today because I haven't really been feeling that way about makeup on the market lately. I've been so into using the things that I already own and building palettes with the makeup that I already have, the eyeshadows and eyeshadow. I've been really into the custom lip colors that I made. And so I've been feeling like this excitement about customization and about the things that I picked for myself and just tailoring the makeup that I have to my own use for me. And so that is like very different from seeing something brand new on the market that's just random and being like, I want it, So I was feeling like I wasn't gonna be I wasn't gonna have like the dynamic range of feelings about new releases today because I just felt a little bit dead inside towards some of the feelings about makeup that make these kinds of videos interesting. And yet I saw this picture of the new MAC paint pots, and I am not a MAC person, and I almost never talk about MAC in these videos, and I'm almost never interested in what they do. And I've never had a paint pot and I've never tried one. It's like the least likely thing to cause me to be excited. But just look at this picture. Look at the picture. They're creamy. The set pans are so beautiful. The matte fiery orange in the bottom right hand corner, and then these sort of set gel looking shiny iridescent, and one of them is supposed to be like ultraviolet shifting, or I don't know what it is, but it's like I want them. Of course I'm not going to buy these. Of course I'm not. I've already spent the little budget that I set aside for myself for my first quarter for seasonal budgeting. I've spent it all. So I'm on a no buy until the next season, which will be in April. I'm just not in the market for any makeup. And I'm not going to buy these for review either because it's not a good fit. It's not giving me the vibe of like, this is a thing that would be good for you to review on my channel. Of course, it's just new colors of paint pots, right? So it's not reviewable. It's not something I'm gonna buy. I don't have budget for it. I don't even actually want them. Like, this is the thing, I don't even actually want them. If someone came to me tomorrow and was like, I'm gonna buy you 5 new pieces of makeup of your choosing. What do you want? I wouldn't even pick these because I don't actually want these paint pots, you know, but the color caused me to kind of just liquefy, not the color, the picture. And yes, the colors in it, the shine, the pictures, the finish, everything, it just caused me to kind of like go all jelly-like inside. And I think in these moments, the way I'd like to see it is that I just have been reminded that I do really love makeup and I have a passion for color and texture, and I'm still excitable. And I want that for myself. I want to continue to be able to be passionate about the things that I love, and especially when it's something, it's beauty and it's just incredibly raw form, color, texture, photography, composition, you know, like those are the things that got me excited about this, because I'm responding to it in this very passionate way, but I don't actually want to own the products. So it is a good thing, right? It's a good thing. It's pure, it's lovely. It's more to do with art than it is to do with consumerism. And when it comes to assessing this in terms of like what's going on the market, it's just kind of surprising to see an image from MAC cause me to have those feelings, because they don't usually manage it. MAC doesn't usually manage that. Okay, this next thing is the total opposite of that. It's repelling me in pretty much absolutely every way. Since we were just talking about pure aesthetics, let's start with pure aesthetics for this one. So this is the YSL Rouge sur Mesure. It's a create your own lipstick shade device on the go. This is making me wish that I had seen Angie and Beauty News recently, if they've both talked about this recently. It makes me want to run and watch them as soon as I'm finished filming this, because I want to know what other people are saying about this. And here's the thing, I just reviewed a service which allows you to customize lip colors. I'm wearing one of them today. I'm wearing my custom lipstick called Sooty Peony, mixed with a little bit of M Cosmetics lip liner in Mink. That's this color. I loved creating my own lip colors. I love the lipsticks that I made. I've never been happier with lip colors than I am with the ones that I created for myself, because I was very deliberate about it. I knew what I was going for. I was trying to create something that I haven't been able to buy off the rack, and I did it. And I live, right? So I'm not saying that customization of makeup or custom lip colors is a problem. In fact, I even just said I'm really into building my own eyeshadow palettes. I like the idea of customization. I like that direction for makeup. I think that there's something to be gained from thinking that way, you know? But this device, so I said we were gonna start with aesthetics and then I didn't. Circling back to aesthetics, it is not attractive to me. Like, it's not, I just feel like whatever the other suggestions, like in the pitch meeting when someone had designed 5 different delivery mechanisms for this idea, 5 different ways that it could be done, and they voted on them, they did a bad job. Like, they should have voted for something else, some other kind of shape or structure, some other kind of physical product, because this, it's confusing. I can't tell how big it is from the pictures. That's another thing that's not good, I think, about this announcement. The little drops that are eking out of the top, like you just can't see by looking at this what it is, and it doesn't make me want it. And I feel like with luxury, you know, with prestige brands, with like these really, really beautiful brands that make really beautiful things, the one thing I feel like I need to be able to count on for them to still stay in my esteem for any reason is that in terms of packaging, design, aesthetics, they're gonna make me want them. They're gonna make me love to want them. And on that count, this completely fails. Like, completely and utterly fails. It just, to me, is hideous. It looks like it looks like, even if it were some sort of other device, like massage device or like kitchen blender or something, even then I would be like, maybe I can find a better designed one. Like, maybe I can find a prettier one. I just sat here for like a full 2 minutes silently reading the copy and trying to kind of understand it. So it says it's customizable, but then I think that what's going on is it's just 3 colors, and the 3 colors squirt out the top, and then you can mix your own custom color, but it's only custom with those 3. Like you can mix 2 of them together or 2 other, the way you would with a lip palette, like a cream palette that just has 3. But that just means that this is the same as that. Like it's just as customizable as if you had like a cream lip palette with 3 and you were deciding to mix among them. So that means that this is like a whole lot of packaging and money, because it's like hundreds of dollars for something way simpler than they're making it out to be. And then it's like you have like a shade wheel and a shade match. There's like an app that goes with it, right? So you like photograph your outfit and it suggests like I think that that's what they're trying to say makes it worth the money or makes it like innovative. And I just don't buy it. And I don't know who will. I am following its future career with moderate to little interest. I'm not gonna want to find out, like if someone reviews this, you know what I mean? It's not like I have no interest in what they'll say. I'm just extremely skeptical that it's going to go well and that it's going to stay on the market for any length of time. It's $300 for the thing, and then the lipstick pod set, it costs $100. I would so much rather just buy 3 different YSL lipsticks and layer them and just use my own eyes and my knowledge about color to decide which combination of the 3 would look best. Not here for that. Okay, this next thing, this is something that I just am putting here because it's pretty. I have no interest in it. It's the Melt Blueprint stack, or not stack, the palette version of the stack. I remember when the stack came out, I've never been interested. Well, I mean, I'm in theory like interested in the color stories of some of Melt stuff, but I've never like wanted to buy a Melt palette or bought a Melt, or maybe I've in theory wanted one before, but I've never like desperately wanted a Melt palette or considered really buying one. And I'm not considering buying this one. It's pretty. Like, it's just really pretty. And I don't always feel that way about Melt either, but the swatches on the arms, there's something about these really glossy blues. I like it when a palette takes one color and does a bunch of different versions, like shades of that color, and then one other color and a bunch of different shades of that. It's like a duochromatic palette. Like there are just 2 colors being dealt with. There's blue and there's this kind of sable brown, and they're doing variations on the theme of each of those 2. I like that strategy for a palette. I like that it's coming with this beautiful turquoisey blue cream gel. It's just a really, really pretty release. Again, in the abstract, just thinking of what's on the market, thinking about the job that someone does when they sit down to create a piece of makeup. I just think it's really, really nice. I just don't have any need for it realistically. And so the desire is kind of like, dead in the water. Like it's before I've even managed to start feeling any feelings about it, any proclivity towards buying it has kind of just been muted by my knowledge of my own preferences and my own current collection and what I want for myself. So that's also nice because I feel like it's really pretty, but I don't have any angst about it, none whatsoever. I don't even really feel desirous of duping the vibes. Like I don't even really want to try to make the looks on my eyes that would make with this. Maybe because I recently duped the vibes of the Manny MUA, the Prussian Blue palette. I can't remember what it was called. The Eternal Eclipse or something like that. Endless Night. That palette had those gorgeous Prussian blues in it, and I duped the vibes of that, and I kind of got my yayas out with that. And so, I think that's another reason why I'm kind of just like, this is really beautiful, but I can just move on. Speaking of customization, this is just a point of interest. Colourpop is doing a Lunar New Year collection, and what they've once again done is curated palettes that you can buy. So rather than releasing new palettes that are like packaged in their cardboard and all of this stuff, they've released these curated palettes of singles that you can buy as a palette, but you're just getting singles. And it's not like it's the first time they've done this or the first time I've thought about it, but I like it. I like that. I really like singles, and I like the idea of an offering of a curated collection of singles that someone can get to add to their single shadow collection and then maybe switch things out, mix and match. I like the idea of it coming with a magnetic palette. I like this for Colourpop. I like this idea for makeup brands. And I think part of why it's really starting to worm its way close to the center of what I think is like good for a brand to do is that it kind of undermines the obsession with a pre-made palette, but at the same time satisfies it. So we're so obsessed with buying color stories like that, like buying a pre-made palette, having a little thing. It's got its own package. It's got its own little way of presenting itself to you. It has a spot in your collection, and it's like the X palette, you know what I mean? The blankety blank palette, the buttity butt palette, the boomity boom palette, and you're like, I've got the blankety blank palette, I've got the buttity butt palette, I've got the boomity boom palette, and like each little one is its own little thing, and you're like, today I'm gonna wear this palette, and you know, and I get that. Like, I get why things speak to you and are really covetable, and I think that an eyeshadow palette has a particularly good pitch because it's multiple colors, so there are sort of endless variations, endless ways to entrap the consumer's desire and to like get that dollar and get someone to buy stuff by rearranging colors and telling a new story with the colors. It makes the same colors over and over again in different combinations seem fresh every time, and it makes people want to buy more and more and more of them. And what I'm saying is I understand it from the point of view of the makeup brands who are trying to sell more palettes, and I also understand it from the consumer point of view. I'm not immune to that desire. But it kind of like teaches us that we don't have our own agency when it comes to figuring out how we want to put colors together. And it kind of like this color story tells its own story about ownership of makeup and ownership of color. And it's this story that you should like have a color palette that you make an eye look out of, and then you should have a separate color palette that you make an eye look out of. Even if there's the same colors that are in both, you have to have them multiple times over because you want to own this little pod of color. Selling a curated palette of singles, it gives the brand and the consumer that option to go through that motion of being like, we've created this little pod of color for you, and then being like, I'm going to own this little pod of color and I'm going to have it and it's going to be mine. But it also kind of incites play and like leads you to kind of mix and match and customize. And I just think that is more realistic. It's a better way of thinking about what we buy when we buy makeup, but it doesn't necessarily completely forfeit the idea of color stories. And it's not like I feel like if you swing too far in the other direction where you're Inglot or something, you know what I mean? Where it's just 100% build your own from scratch, you lose a lot of people that way. And you lose the fun of the offerings and like the comment on trends that the market is making, you know? But if you only have pre-made palettes without removable pans, then you lose the adaptability. So I like this for the same reason that I like the fact that Natasha Janona shades are magnetic and can be popped out of the pan. I hope that Colourpop does more of this. I'm squarely on board, and I hope that more brands do this kind of thing too. Here's another thing that I just want with the Passion of 1,000 Burning Suns, coming off of a couple of weeks of being like, how can I continue? How can I keep making beauty content when I have this cardboard heart when it comes to makeup right now? Like, I just have not been feeling these feelings. And then suddenly today I opened it up and I looked at this Chanel blush duo and I was like, give it to me. I was like, I wish I'd known about this before I spent my entire small seasonal budget. I might have bought it. And of course, this isn't the kind of thing that my channel would buy for review, because that's not like a prime review video, right? Like reviewing one, it just doesn't make sense. So you can see how there's an opening. There's like this whole category of makeup that I want for myself, but I'm not gonna buy it with my own budget, but it just wouldn't fit for me to buy it for review. So I am not buying it for review or for myself, but I just want it. Look at it. Look at it. Look at it. I've put the picture here in this beautiful juicy spot. Look at that embossing, the round bifurcated pan with the round organic and yet graphic embossing. These two colors, one of which looks very pale, like a perfect pale pink for me. This gorgeous rusty and yet still not too statement color, the darker one. It's $70. I'm not gonna buy it. And again, I can't, it would be funny business if I was like, I'm gonna review this. You know what I mean? Because I would know that I was just doing it because I personally wanted to keep it and not because I thought that it was something that people wanted to see me review. This is just a stunning release that I have no reason to buy for a review or for myself or anything. It's completely off the table. It's like when you see like a really, really beautiful designer purse or something, but you're just not in a position to be buying designer purses, which is like me my whole life seeing all designer purses, you know what I mean? And you're just like, wow, wow, wow. If I were living a different life with a different budget, then that's the first thing that I would buy this month, you know? Really, really pretty. It's about to get a little bit loud. This filming session is overlapping with baby lunchtime, so if you hear some screeches, that's what that is. Rare Beauty. This is so interesting. So many people have tagged me in this or been like, OMG, you're definitely gonna have to review this because it's right up your alley, right? So Rare Beauty has come out with their second release, the Stay Vulnerable, Stay Rare Melting Cream Blush, which is, yes, the kind of thing formulaically and visually that I historically really, really love and do review. I mean, I reviewed the Fenty ones, right? The Glossy Lip Balm, which is the kind of thing I would be really into right now, very true. And the liquid eyeshadow, which I don't really like liquid eyeshadows. But the other two, yes. And when I started getting tagged in this and clicking through the link and being like, OMG, blah, 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 looking at the pictures, blah, 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 I was like, oh, maybe this is it. My self-sponsored review for February or whatever, you know, January. Like everyone's right. I should review this. And then the same thing happened that happened with Rare Beauty on the first round, which was that I saw the teasers and the tags and it was like a liquid blush and a thing and creamy and looked so beautiful and so me. And I was like, I'm definitely gonna review this. And I went and I was about to put stuff in my cart and then I couldn't find a color that I wanted. Like the colors didn't feel original to me. They didn't feel sophisticated compared to the experience that I have, for example, with a brand like M Cosmetics, where every time they come out with stuff, the colors, actually this wasn't true of the first release of the serum blushes, but everything else. And then when they expanded the serum blushes, it became true. The balance of color to me, the tone, the way that the tones are muddied a little bit with brown or with gray or just with each other, a little bit tertiary and then beyond. The way that the tones are balanced is just so different and exquisite and sophisticated and feels really yummy to me and feels age appropriate to me, like as a 35-year-old woman, you know? M Cosmetics Faded Clementine lipstick is the perfect example because it's a beautiful orange and you don't really see true orange lips very often, but then it's got this dirt, this nude quality, this faded quality, and that makes it even more original. So it's like originality tinging originality and just making it something very special. And I see nothing even remotely like that with the shade range of Rare Beauty. So I wanted to review the products the first time. I didn't want any of the colors. And so I felt like I wouldn't be a good candidate for reviewing them because the best case scenario would be that I got them and I was like, wow, these formulas are really amazing, but I don't like this makeup because I don't want to wear these colors. The same thing has happened this time. So there is a shade called Nearly Nude in that really fun, like juicy thumbprint looking cream blush, but it's more pink than nude. And when you look at the swatches next to the liquid eyeshadow and the balm, they look a little bit more nude, like they look a little bit more neutral. I'm using nude in this case to mean not too pink and not too red and not too orange, but like more towards the center, more neutral, more brown. They look more that way, but the blush one looks more pink. It looks like a glossy pink. And then all of the other colors are these square in the middle, like a square in the middle pink, a square in the middle mauve, a square in the middle berry. It's just anyone with a makeup collection of any size, you find the color that you like the most, and then you already have a dupe for it. They're just so dupeable. The colors are so dupeable. And it's hard for me to get excited about that, even though the formulas look exciting, especially the glossy lip balm and the cheek. The formulas look exciting. I'm not gonna review Rare until they make some more interesting colors. Oh, here's another one that I wanna talk about, because even more than the MAC release, this made me realize how much of a difference there is between like a passion for color and an actual desire for a product. Nothing exemplifies that more for me than nail polish. And I felt that feeling again today when I saw this. So Lights Lacquer has released, and I feel like she always does a beautiful job. Like the tones of the colors are always really, really good. The advertising, like the pictures are always really, really good. The way it's all styled always makes me really want it. Look at the circles in the middle, right? That periwinkle. And I should say that when I've been in a stretch during which I'm getting my nails done at the salon a lot, this kind of like grayish periwinkle is a color that I like. Like that is if I'm getting my nails done and I'm like choosing color, cream color, this is a color that I like. The super, super shiny reflective flakes, that's also something that I like. So I guess it's not totally out there, because there are some of my personal like nail polish boxes that are being checked here. The reason that it's such a good example of the separate nature of like loving the way that something looks and being inspired by it and actually wanting it is that I just don't have a nail polish collection. One of the regrets that I really have from how I spent my budget last year is nail polish. I got sucked in because the colors were really beautiful and the glitters, and I was like really, I felt the feelings about them. And then I bought those nail polishes and I never really used them because I just don't really paint my nails. I use press-ons. I love doing that, but it's either that or nothing. And there's not really in between. And I knew that when I bought the nail polishes, I was like, maybe I'll just do it. Maybe I'll start doing it. And I just haven't, and I haven't really used them. I know the same thing would happen with this. These pictures stir up desire in me because they're beautiful, because the creaminess and the brush, and they remind me of painting, and there's glossiness, and it stirs me up, the glitter. It makes me feel feelings, and I identify those feelings as desire because I want to touch, to paint, to shine, to play. It's easy to get that desire confused with the desire to actually buy this product, because this is, after all, a piece of advertising. But because it's nail polish and because I don't want nail polish, I can catch myself in the act. It's very close to the surface, my knowledge that I don't actually want this actual thing that I'm seeing. It reminded me of how easy it is to get those two desires confused. It reminded me sharply. Oh, Becca, I have realized on the occasion of this release and reading about it and finding out about it, that I don't trust Becca anymore with their formulas. And it's kind of been a long time coming, because I've tried a couple of things from Becca over the past couple of years. Some things have come in PR. And then there was one thing that I bought for review. Remember that liquid highlighter, like that it was like iridescent new liquid highlighter that they came out with? It was just horrible in almost every way. That, and then like a really cakey foundation that I tried that I was sent in PR, and maybe a couple of other things. I think of Becca as being a really trustworthy brand formula-wise, and in terms of colors. I think for a long time, in the early days of my interest in makeup, Becca was like really quality and known for that, and the highlighters. And I looked through this. So they've released a light shifter dewing tint. Is that what it's called, or is that a typo? Nope, that's what it's called. The light shifter dewing tint. And it looks like a really glossy tinted foundation. That seems like the kind of thing that I would really, really love. And so my old sort of way of thinking about Becca as a brand that kind of can do no wrong, which I feel like for a long time is what it was, meant that my interest was really piqued when I first saw this. And then I remembered my recent experiences with Becca and I was like, I'm gonna hold off on this. I'm gonna wait for the reviews before I decide that I'm even interested in this at all, because they've just had so many strikeouts lately. And that's why I wanted to talk about this in this video, even though I do think this is a potentially interesting release and it is the kind of thing, they really went there with the glossy swatches. It basically looks like they've created something that's kind of like Charlotte Tilbury Hollywood Flawless Filter, but they're saying that it's a foundation product rather than a base, or rather than like a priming or highlighting product. So they're really going there, and I'm interested in that in the abstract. But more than that, the thing that piqued my interest about my experience of seeing this release was that it made me realize, like, the other shoe finally dropped for me with this brand. And it made me realize that they've kind of entered into the sort of like serious hit or miss territory for me. A lot of brands I feel falling from grace these days. Another one that I just wanted to give kudos to, I'm of course not gonna buy this, but Charlotte Tilbury's Lunar New Year lip colors are really pretty, like painfully pretty. And again, it surprised me. I wasn't expecting to like or want or even appreciate or even care about anything this week. But these, I mean, when I clicked through, I'll show you the first one. Look at that. I mean, it's like a peachy, but it's like a burnt peach. You know what I mean? It's got that burnt peach sauce quality that makes it just a little bit more yummy and desirable than a plain peach. The second one, same thing. It's like, it's almost red, almost reddish berry, but it's got that burnt quality, that just slightly rusty quality that really makes my heart go pitter patter. And then the bright, it's probably the one I like the least of all of them, but it too has something about it. This is what I'm talking about that Rare Beauty is missing, right? They're like, we're gonna make a peach, and then they just pick a straight peach and they don't do anything to it. They don't mix it with anything, they don't sully it at all. And if it's not sullied, I'm not interested. This is like a very, very bright, almost watermelon that's like a little bit sullied. I feel like she knocked it out of the park with these three colors. Okay, Colourpop with this weird, tiny Natasha Janona palette thing. I mean, I guess it's not weird. They know exactly what they're doing. They're releasing 5 eyeshadows in a tiny palette in the exact same format as the mini Natasha Janona palettes. And so it gives them this kind of air of luxury because they're referencing a luxury product. So that it was really smart. And you know, in theory, they're nice. Like, you look at them and you're like, wow, it's like these little neutral color stories. And usually I like that kind of thing. And all signs point to me kind of wanting one of these. And yet I have absolutely no interest in them. And I think part of it is that one of the things that makes the Natasha Janona ones appealing is that there's this quality over quantity thing that you're buying into when you buy them. So you're just buying 5 tiny pans, and it's a very simple 5-color story. And you're spending a pretty decent amount of money for that small amount of eyeshadow, but the quality promises to be amazing because Natasha Janona makes really high quality eyeshadows. So you're like choosing quality over quantity and investing $25 in that, which is a lot for that small amount, but not a lot of money like in the general makeup world, especially not for an eyeshadow palette. So I really feel like there's that sweet spot with them. But Colourpop, as much as I love Colourpop eyeshadows, and I do, I think that they are really good quality, especially for the price point. So I'm not saying that this is low quality. It just doesn't have that overlay of luxury, that excitement of luxury that Natasha Janona has. So you're not buying that, you're not receiving that when you decide to buy one of these. And then there's like a bunch of them. So you think what people are probably gonna do is like, buy 3. Like, it would be hard to buy just one of these, I feel, especially with the Colourpop shipping minimum. Like, I bet that what people are doing is they're clicking through and they're putting 3 of these into their cart. They're buying 3, they're picking their favorite 3 so that they can get the free shipping. So it's not quality over quantity, it's quantity over quality. That's this release. In spite of the fact that it looks exactly like the Natasha Janona palettes, I feel like it's the opposite of them in every way. And then speaking of Natasha Janona, the I Need a Nude lip crayon, you better believe this got me going because I've talked about this before, but there's something about the I Need a Nude range from Natasha Janona that really has my heart. Like, it makes me feel like I need a nude. Now, having created my own perfect neutrals and nudes recently for that review video, that has kind of banished the desire that I had for the Natasha Janona I Needed Nudes, because I feel like none of them could be better than the perfect ones that I made for myself. So I'm kind of good. I still am interested in these lip crayons because I love a lip pencil. And I feel like it's a way to get a really exciting color from a brand that you like, where you're allured by their lip products. If the lipsticks themselves are kind of too expensive for you, often the lip pencils will be less expensive, but the formula will still be really good and you can like still put it all over your lips. And it's like buying a mini of a lipstick. That's how I feel about buying a lip pencil, especially a creamy one. And these just look gorgeous, like literally all of them. Like I would wear literally all of them, I feel like. And I don't know, I love them. I feel like if I weren't staying home, you know, if I were like going out to shops right now, if I weren't quarantined, I would love to go to Sephora and swatch these. And on swatching them, I could totally see myself ending up buying one. Not now, because again, I'm on a no buy. Essentially, I'm between shopping seasons. But if I were to like, go, if in April magically, like I'm vaccinated and I'm able to go, I could see myself going to a Sephora, swatching these, and I could totally see myself buying one. They're really like a little bit on my radar. I think it's cool that she came out with these lip pencils. And that is it. What a curiously dynamic video, especially considering that I kind of went into it feeling a little bit ho-hum about makeup. So there are a number of things here today that I was just like, oh, a brand that does a good job at certain things, doing a really good job at certain things. I like to see that. And it did make me remember how much I love makeup and how much I love color and texture. And then it was, you know, interspersed with things like the YSL thing where I'm just like, why? Why, YSL? Why? Let me know what you think of these releases in the comment section down below, or if there's anything that's new to the market that you thought I was going to talk about because to you it's like the most notable new release and you're like, Hannah, why didn't you talk about X? If there's anything like that, I'd love to know, because again, I've been a little bit out of touch lately. So give me the tea, and don't forget to take extra good care of yourself today, because that's what'll make you the most effective version of yourself as you do your work in the world.